Those are the biggest hurdles in 2025. But the most important hurdle, the biggest hurdle, is thinking about, listening to, and being worried about the news. None of that stuff actually matters. The reason it doesn't matter is because real estate investors have been making money for decades. Regardless of the market, there's always a way to make money. So the question is how do you make money in today's market? What's up? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Adam Whitney, the CEO of Seven Figure Flipping and Blackjack Real Estate. We're going to talk about the 2025 and 2026 markets and how you can absolutely thrive regardless of what they're saying in the media. Now, I've touched on this subject before, but I want to cover a couple things with you guys as we kick off the new year. Everybody's excited about their goals, and I want to give you the best tools possible so that you can win and thrive in 2025. Okay. So first, let's cover what the biggest hurdles investors will face in 2025. Okay. We all know what the current circumstances are. Higher mortgage rates than we've seen 2019, 2020, 2021. Really in 22 to current, midway through 22 to current, we've seen the interest rates go up. We've got tighter inventory, less buyers. We've got more inventory in the market in some markets, but less buyers being able to buy them. The affordability issue. There's regional disparities. The markets that grew immensely, in some cases doubled during the 2020 to 2022 run up, are now pulling back. And it feels like the prices are declining in a big way, but really they're just pulling back to the mean and they're still way ahead. And then the issues with builders needing to build more. So therefore your deals are competing with brand new houses with great opportunities. So I'll touch on that. So what are the biggest hurdles? Those are the biggest hurdles in 2025. But the most important hurdle, the biggest hurdle, is thinking about, listening to, and being worried about the news. None of that stuff actually matters. The reason it doesn't matter is because real estate investors have been making money for decades. Regardless of the market, there's always a way to make money. So the question is how do you make money in today's market? Well, that's simple. Number one, you understand the pricing in your market. If it has pulled back 5%, adjust your numbers by 5%. See, this is what's the greatest opportunity we've had in quite some time. Number one, less competition. Number two, the circumstances. All economists are predicting the next 2 years, 25 and 26, to be about even. Very little growth, very little pullback. So some economists are saying the nationwide market will decline by like 0.5%. Some are saying it grow by like 2.5%. That means it's basically what it's going to be for the next 2 years. Barring some crazy black swan event, we have what we have, which is great because it creates a level of predictability, which means that we can plan for it in our business and then we can execute. The other beauty of today's market is a lot of people have stepped away from real estate, or the people who weren't as serious as you are went and pivoted to something else because they believe something else will be fast, quick money. But if you're paying attention to the people who are genuinely successful, you'll know that none of this stuff is get rich quick type stuff. This is just being a fundamentally sound investor. So if we go back to this, the point here is that the market is primed for opportunity. If you can go out today and find good deals and know that you win at the buy, that means when I buy this property, I'm having a very strong analysis on where it will sell based on my understanding of the market. I'm dialed in on my rehab cost if you're going to flip the property or even burr it into a rental. That means that you're including all of your holding costs. So if you're using hard money, the cost for hard money. And by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about using money, we're going to start to teach people how to use money better. We think this is one of the keys. And I'm going to put a link in this show for training that we're going to do over 5 days and teaching you exactly how to get all the money you need and how to use the money for real estate. A lot of people tell us like, I don't know where to get the 20% down, or I don't know where to get the money, or I don't have money, or I don't know anybody with money. We're going to destroy all those things and show you exactly how my partner Bill and I have raised. I mean, he's raised easily over $150 million. I'm far less than that, but he's got a couple years on me. So I'm easily over $10 million raised. We're going to show you how to do that. You can check the link below. But going back to the original point is including all the cost, holding cost, money cost, good solid rehabs, good ARV, and then how much profit you want to make in your deal. If you want to be risk adjusted, underwrite it for more profit. You know, maybe you accept nothing less than 40 or 50 or $60,000 of projected net profit so that you have enough room to feel better about your risk temperature. Like some people just can't get as hot as other when it comes to risk. So underwrite to that. That's okay. So bottom line is you can thrive in 2025. There's less competition. The market is actually going to be stable for 2 years based on all the, you can Google this. All the economists, whether it's the National Association of Realtors or the Zillow economist or Mark Zandi over at Moody's, like everybody is basically predicting the same thing for the next 2 years. Interest rates will stay between 6 and 7%. We're not going to see a bunch of appreciation. We're not going to see a bunch of price declines. Of course, super overheated markets regionally will pull back, but it's going to be pretty stable. So that's really, really amazing. Okay. Now, a challenge we might have is there are fewer distressed property owners. People have a lot of equity still. Where is the opportunity? Well, the opportunity is to get really good at your ability to find deals. So it's not the most complicated thing in the world, but you have to be able to generate leads. You can do that by strategically going after certain types of properties on the MLS, and those don't really cost you much of anything. You can do that by building an extensive network of wholesalers or off-market deal finders and having a systematic approach to finding the properties that you will flip and making offers on them. Or you can do that by going direct to seller with your own marketing, taking the phone calls, talking to sellers and negotiating your own deals and not paying wholesale fees or agent fees. Any of those three options works just fine. If you get really good at those, you could literally dominate the market. Although there'll be less distress in it, there are also less people looking for these deals today. Because like I said earlier, they're going after the shiny object that they think can make them the money the fastest, you know, pivoting to buying businesses that they don't even know anything about or how to run. Here's the truth, guys. Like real estate has been a wealth builder for the most wealthy people in the world for 100 years. I mean, you could go back to ancient history and people were trading land. Like it is just fundamentally a necessity to have shelter, and it's super advantageous for us here in the US. So it's going to remain the top wealth building vehicle in the country. Doesn't mean there aren't other things that can make you a lot of money, sometimes fast, but those things are like not as solidified. A software business, most of 99% of those things are failing, but people think they're going to build some software and launch it and sell it for zillions of dollars. Like it's like the 1%, guys. It's far less proven at a wide breadth of people than real estate. So yeah, great opportunities here if you stay focused on doing the little things right. So finding the good deals, having a systematic approach to that, understanding today's market, which is great because it's pretty much even, knowing that a lot of investors have left the industry, in search for the next shiny object. And the opportunity really is here for you guys. So I'll touch on the new construction piece for a moment too, because it is a challenge if you're flipping houses and you have new construction in your area and you're competing against new construction. You need to really think about three things as a flipper, as a house flipper. And that is, today, these things are some of the most important things. And that's location, quality of your rehab, and layout of the property. People are not going to buy wonky layouts. They're just not going to do it. Not the people with money who can buy today in this less affordable time. So those are three things. So I'll say it again. That's location, quality of your rehab. Don't do garbage jobs. I can tell you a story about how I did a bad job on a flip and I paid for it. And then layouts. So location, layout, quality. When we talk about a location, we're talking about places where people want to be. And this is where new construction comes in, because usually in a lot of growth markets, there is new construction in those places. So you have to be very cognizant of competing against new construction. You either need to be at a different price point than they are, or you need to be at a different location than they are. And you need to have some type of competitive advantage of those, because when people come in, they say, I can have this fixed up house, which might have a few little flaws, or I can have this brand new house and they're going to give me $50,000 towards my closing. Plus I can get a 4.99% interest rate, and my monthly payment, the one thing that they care about, is going to be less. Why wouldn't they take new? So be very, very cognizant of that. Okay, let me highlight a couple of other things. We talk about emerging markets. I'm not going to tell you, actually, you know what? Maybe I will tell you some of my favorite emerging markets today. Here's how the market cycles work. And you can look through history. These are so repeatable, it's almost comical how predictable it is. The major MSAs, metropolitan statistical areas, that are big boom markets. So think coast, think California, think New York, the Phoenix, Arizonas. Those markets tend to appreciate and go up in value like crazy. And then when market corrections happen, they get crushed. They come way down. So number one, if you're in one of those boom markets and you're feeling the pain today, that's probably a good thing, because those markets will rebound the fastest. Once they've bottomed out, they will go up, and they will go up more than any other market, because those are boom markets. Then you kind of have the opposite end of that spectrum, which are the Midwestern cities. There's some really great Midwestern cities. Columbus, Ohio has specifically been a phenomenal market, just looking at the statistics, for appreciation and cash flow. It's kind of crazy. You don't get that all the time in the Midwest, but Columbus, Ohio does have appreciation and cash flow. If you want to, Ohio is just a great state. A lot of investors like it because it is a landlord friendly state. So you can get a combination of cash flow and appreciation in Columbus, or you could go over to a city like Toledo and buy a bunch of cash flowing properties. Indianapolis, Indiana in general is another great state that people love. It's a fairly even state, doesn't appreciate too much, doesn't come down too much in value, and you can still find great cash flow there with good landlord friendly places. Now, I would just look at all the MSAs, the metropolitan statistic areas in Indiana, because there's like 3 or 4 that are really, really strong. And you do get a lot of movement. Now, this month, the one thing, if you're still thinking about picking a market, the one thing I would look at in 2025 is U-Haul this month will put out a migration report. Basically, people who are taking one-way trips using U-Haul, and talk about where people are moving to the most. If you're very early on, you're like, I'll invest anywhere, I just don't know where. That's a great report to look at, because you want to be investing where people are moving to. When there's population growth, there's oftentimes price growth. So check that out. All right. The last thing I'll say, and this is really important for flippers. I know this has been a bit of a monologue, but you can literally thrive in 2025. And I'll recap this if you do just a few things really, really well. Number one, know your market. Remember location, layout, and quality of your flips, being cognizant of new construction. The other thing that you should think you should make sure you're doing is winning at the buy. That means including all of your cost. So that's the purchase price, the rehab, the utilities and insurance, the holding cost, the money cost, all of those things, and then factoring in the amount of profit you want to make. That's where you win in this market. And if you need to adjust the projected sale price based on the market pulling back 3 or 4 or 5%, then adjust it. And that's where you should be making your offers. The other component of this that we didn't talk deeply about is days on market and how long it's actually taking to sell houses. It is taking in many markets 30 or 40 or 50 days for houses to go under contract to sell, and then another 30 to 45 days to sell. So when you're doing your projections on how much the money is going to cost, you need to factor in that hold time and the cost of the money during that time. If you do those things well, if you be cognizant of new construction, if you include your cost and win at the buy, make great offers, if you focus on quality, location, and layout, you are going to make a boatload of money in this market if you have those things dialed in. It's just a great market to thrive in 2025. It is seriously phenomenal. Less competition. The market is basically stabilized. It's not as favorable as it was, but it's still stabilized, which means it's predictable, which means I can still win at the buy, and so can you. So this is going to be a great year in real estate, especially for those of you who take what you're doing very seriously and you want to build a legitimate business, or you've already built a business and you're deciding that you want to scale it up. This is a great market to be in. I'm really excited about it. I know many of you are excited about it. I know our members in the 7-figure flipping community are like incredibly excited about it. So, I hope to see you guys all win in 2025. And oh yes, by the way, I mentioned we were going to talk about how to get more capital, how to get capital, how to raise capital for your real estate deals. So make sure you check out that link for the 5 days of training that Bill's going to do. It's going to be incredible. Usually money is the thing that is holding most people back from scaling. We want to show you how to basically get an unlimited amount. So hope to see you on that challenge. I think it'll be incredible, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thanks for tuning in.